guys, I am making this video because so many people reach out to me via email, or they see my YouTube videos, they hear about my scoliosis condition, how I've been able to manage it, and they reach out with questions. And so this is a video I've put together to answer some of those frequently asked questions. I would love to have the conversation with you. I can't do it quite often, and so the requests have been coming in so much that this video will help to answer some of those questions. So a little background about my situation. I first found out I had scoliosis when I was 15 years old. I was doing a jump with my dance team, and I came down and landed, and something jolted to the point where I couldn't move, and I remember my coach yelling at me, and I could not move, and I just started to cry. I don't remember much after that, except that my mom came and got me, who took me to the chiropractor, and they x-rayed me. And they said, well, yeah, you've got actually pretty severe scoliosis. It started in the lumbar, and then a pretty wicked curve in the thoracic, and then a compensatory curve near the top of the thoracic area heading into the cervical column. And so that began a few years of getting E-stem therapy, regular adjustments at the chiropractor twice a week, and just continuing to dance and stretch. And so that was a really good thing. I was very active. Didn't cause me much pain at that point. That was just a rare landing that brought about that pain. And so from then on, I was aware of it. I did notice at that time in my late teens that if I was on my feet too long, if I was standing up too long, I was a lifeguard at the time, maybe about 2 hours past the 2-hour mark, my back would become so fatigued and it would ache and throb. At this point in my life, I wasn't thinking about longevity. I wasn't thinking about anything because, you can't even see past high school and barely college. But I did know that I couldn't be on my feet too long. I got into long distance running as a way for me to combat my fears of gaining weight and some of the eating disorders that I was dealing with at the time, focusing on my body image. And long distance running was not wise for me. Hindsight, I look back and see all the pain I put myself through, but fear pushed me through that because I felt if I didn't exercise to that level, I would gain weight. And so that was a really tricky thing. I can't say that the long distance running exacerbated the condition, but I certainly know that there were some years of pain during those times. I served an LDS mission in Seoul, Korea for a year and a half, and walking so much. We were able to ride buses and subways, but a good part of our movement was on foot. This was very difficult for me as it did put extreme pressure on my back. And so I would daily stretch most mornings. In that 30 minutes we were given for exercise, I would either run or stretch. Towards the end of my mission, as I grew more fatigued, I just ended up stretching most of that time. And another thing I'm asked a lot about is how to avoid surgery, and I think that's a different conversation for different ages. All of us have such unique conditions. I actually don't know what the curves in my back are right now in the beginning of 2019. I haven't x-rayed in about 3 years, and quite frankly, I don't care. For me, I won't ever get surgery on it. I made that decision when I was 20 years old, and I felt extremely confident in that decision on a spiritual level, on a logical level, doing a lot of the research on people who have had the surgery done, into my knowledge of putting metals and foreign objects in the body and what that does to the immune system, to brain health, everything like that. So I personally have chosen not to do surgery, and I will not have surgery. At this point in my life, I can't imagine what would force me into that, but that's my take on it. And so everything I do, and I'll share with you guys some things, is to help me live my best life every single day in spite of this condition. Like I really want to own it and not have it be something that holds me back and say, well, I can't do that because of this. Though there are some things, practicing wisdom, we do need to say no to and not do everything. There certainly are good days and there are certainly bad days, and at this point in my life, I learn how to tell the difference between them instead of just pushing through and trying to powerhouse my way through some of the bad days. And if it is a harder day, being open and communicating with others around you so that you're not just in a grouchy, irritable mood, or at least they can understand why you're in one, because that will impact relationships. It will impact work. It will impact those people that you love. Good days, you have to temper yourself. If you feel good, that doesn't mean you can go and just do all of these things. For me, that doesn't mean I can just go crazy in a dance class and do everything I want to do, or suddenly go sprint. I was able to do a few Tough Mudders this past year. I did really plan my ibuprofen and my timing of it, and I knew that I would probably hurt for a day or two afterward, but I was willing to do it, and it was fun, and that was worth it to me to do something fun to then endure a little bit of pain on the other side of it. A lot of people ask if I do pain meds, and the answer is I do keep tramadol around me. I try really hard not to do it. If I try to make sure I'm not doing it every single day. For me, it has to really be defined as a bad day. And if I'm having more than 3 or 4 bad days in a week, then that's a sign that I probably need to scale back some of the commitments or activities or things that I'm doing in my life to allow more time for recovery, stretching, or training, or PT. And those are the things that help us feel good and function. And so to minimize pain, instead of just masking it, we really have to get to the root cause, what's going on. And I'm going to share with you guys a video that's going to show you how I open up the different parts of the spine, starting in the lumbar, moving to the thoracic, and then the upper back, that helps really focus on all the different levels so that no matter where your curve is, I think you'll also benefit from this. You'll see me at times push my ribs out, and then other times you're trying to force those ribs back in, learning how to engage the core, which is the abdomen, the low back, the erector spinae muscles on the sides of the spine, and then the glutes, and learning how to work those synergistically does more to help compensate pain than anything else. A lot of it depends on if you have a posterior tilt or an anterior tilt, recognizing every single one of us has a different condition. I have an anterior tilt, which means I have a little bit of sway back, which means those muscles in my lumbar, they shorten and they get tired. And so for me, the compensation is stretching and really doing a lot of tucked positions and learning how to engage my core more so I'm not constantly contracting those muscles and fatiguing them. So let's go ahead. I'll show you that video now and I'll talk you through how to do that. All you need is a foam roller and about 5 minutes and breathing and focusing. You can't do it really quick. You got to do it slowly and focused or else it's not worth doing. So ease yourself onto your foam roller, starting down at the lumbar. You basically want to feel like it's on your butt. So on that really bony part of your sacrum, feet are flat, toes pointing forward, knees pointing forward in line with your hips, and really pushing your belly button down towards the ground. I'm clasping my hands, interlocking my fingers, and helping my ribs stay flat as I'm easing my feet out. This is really challenging the lumbar. This may be very difficult for you. This may be easy for you. It all depends upon your tilt of the pelvis. The key is during this process, you're keeping the ribs in and the head flat while the hip flexors are lengthening and the lumbar is really heading into a nice stretch. Reach overhead, keep your hands as close to the ground as you can, keep those ribs in. Your ribs will want to come up to compensate if this is really hard on your lumbar. Breathe deeply. Now we're going to lift about 6 to 12 inches off the ground with one foot, slowly focusing on only using the low abs. You don't want to use your hip flexor. If it feels like you're crunching your hip flexor, it's usually because you're arching your back and you shouldn't. All right, after you've walked it back in, you're going to lift one leg up and then the other. For me, this is my sweet spot. This feels so good, but this may be a little painful just to kind of rock it a little bit in this range of motion. Don't go too far either way, but just helping open up all of those muscles and tendons that are connected to your sacrum. Focus again on keeping those ribs in and come down gently 1 foot at a time. That'll help from shocking the body. Now roll the foam roller up. For most people, this is going to be where your biggest thoracic curve is, and it's the bendiest part of your back. You might not be able to bend it, you might. Okay, we're going to stretch side to side. So my palms are up in scarecrow position, and I'm just stretching over, trying to keep my ribs in, keeping feet flat, hips, knees, everything is flat. Only the upper back and the ribs are twisting, and helping to strengthen through the lats, a little bit of the rhomboids, and just keeping that range of motion, especially while keeping an engaged core. Breathe. Slowly lengthen those feet out and think of dropping your tailbone towards the ground and then lifting it up again, stretching the hip flexors. Drop your tailbone to the ground, ribs will come up to compensate, and squeeze those ribs in and hip flexors stretch.
it's training your core how to be stronger and how to be engaged. You might take a long time to be able to master that. I've been doing this for years, so I could do it pretty quickly, but I'm just giving you a brief overview here. Here we're doing just some upper ab crunches while the lower abs are staying very, very tight. This helps us keep a long line and learn where those ribs need to come in to stay contracted while the upper back stays open. A lot of people can contract their abs, but the upper back will hunch forward. So this is how, with that gun pose and thinking of your hands being heavy, you will drop that down. This will start to open up the shoulders, the back, the chest, everything that perhaps could have hunched forward and compensating for your curves. And if you're able to, then put your legs down. Again, this is keeping a very tight core while breathing. If you see my face, this is not enjoyable, but it's what I do every day to keep things open and if not push into greater mobility. Finally, we'll take the foam roller up, just right on top of the shoulder blades, palms up. So we want this pretty high. If it's underneath the wing of your scapula, it's too low. It should be up above that. Now our goal here is keeping the ribs in while the arms are pushing down and the head is pushing through. So you can see I'm just playing around with all of those angles, training the muscles, teaching them where I want them to hold, because that's my strength in being able to keep those muscles engaged, whether I'm walking, running, dancing, standing, sitting, whatever that be.
Some other things that really help manage my pain levels on a daily basis. This is due to my years of research and doing my personal business, which is called Body Buddies. You're welcome to come and watch over on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. I have an entire nutrition line, coaching business, and I've coached over 5,000 people because of the things I've been blessed to learn, not just due to scoliosis. There's been many parts of my journey, but scoliosis is definitely something that's helped evolve that. So let me just quickly share some of the things I personally do and would encourage you to look into and do your own research and decide if it's for you too. Glutamine, this is an amino acid that helps to repair muscles. And so because I have the mindset I'm going to constantly break down muscles, I need to help rebuild those. So I do make sure I have 15 to 20, 25 grams of protein every few hours in the day, adequate protein. So for me, I try to get 120 to 130 grams of protein per day. And ketosis is another diet strategy that is very anti-inflammatory that would work well for you. If you are going to do keto, I encourage you to learn how I teach keto. It's a healthier version of it, but I'm going to teach you just a little bit different than keto per se. Selenium, this is something I came across in my research to help with the reduction of arthritis and the prevention of arthritis, especially when we have compacting discs and vertebrae. And so as of 3 years ago, my last x-ray, I didn't have any arthritis. And so I'm just doing everything I can to keep it out of there. And someday I'll x-ray again when I feel up to it. Glucosamine is a very helpful supplement. This helps to any joints, the achiness that you may feel in the hips, in the back, etc. I get mine with MSM, so that's a very good supplement to be taking every day as well. Making sure we're getting plenty of vegetables is really key because this helps to move metabolic waste and inflammatory responses to diet, toxins, environment, pollution, you name it, even lactic acid. It helps to move those things through the body and get them out, because when those inflammatory molecules are still in the body, that is going to exacerbate pain. So making sure a serving of vegetables at every meal happens is key. Things that I'm eating on a regular basis include lots of leafy greens, collard greens, mustard greens, spinach, romaine. At least, I don't always have a salad, but I will throw those in stir fries or scrambles or soups and things like that. Cruciferous vegetables include broccoli, cauliflower, bok choy, Brussels sprouts, did I say that? A lot of the water-based vegetables, very quick and easy to eat on the go. I'm known for having my veggies in the dance studio or anywhere I go. Everyone's like, what veggie do you have? And I pull a bag out of my purse, sugar snap peas, baby carrots, little mini sweet peppers, celery, cucumber. These are really good and fast go-tos. And then you've just got your miscellaneous things like zucchini, butternut squash, asparagus, and those are great to throw in dinners, lunches, steam them, bake them, chop them up, put them in a stir fry. I eat low carb, high fat, which means that I really reduce the carbohydrate-based foods I eat. If I do eat them, they're going to be plant-based, things like beans, quinoa, brown rice, oats, or fruit, things like apples and berries. And I replace that energy with high fat, so avocado, olives. I cook in avocado and coconut oil, almond butter, unsweetened coconut flakes, things like that. I try to stay away from gluten, except for some indulgences, and I haven't, as of yet, noticed a significant correlation between pain and gluten, but I know I just feel better even in my digestion when I'm not doing gluten, so that's kind of more of a rarity. I don't do dairy, and this one is huge. Dairy is very inflammatory. I do notice the difference between when I am like with holidays, with family, with friends, and eating a lot of the normal standard American diet foods that for me, that's not normal Kristy standard diet. And those types of things will inflame me, will cause me pain, they impact my mood even. And so I'd encourage you guys to start investigating, kicking those things out. I do unsweetened non-dairy almond milk, cashew milk, coconut milk. I use almond cheese instead of regular cheese. The thing I love is when you don't do dairy, 90% of the desserts that were hard to say no to before, just you say no to because you don't do dairy. And it makes it so easy to say no to desserts because it's just not worth it. Not worth it at all. Yoga is something I would highly recommend 1 to 3 times a week. If you can make it happen is great. The sauna 2 to 3 times a week, 20 to 30 minutes. Again, helping with the detoxification. We want to get inflammation out of the body. This can be working on the inside to help manage that pain. There are some physical therapy exercises that I have constructed from all of my experience, not only with 16 years of teaching dance and attending workshops, conventions, trainings, but then also 7 years being a certified personal trainer and going to all those conventions and trainings and workshops and working with fantastic people, but the hundreds, if not thousands of dollars I've spent going to learn from experts and going to appointments and saying, teach me the best you can so that I can then take it, because I'm someone that's very curious minded and I can take one fraction of information and create something pretty amazing out of it. And so many of the things I teach actually in the dance studio, in the personal training space, and in Scoliosis PT is functioning around that. I do a lot of private dance lessons for dancers with scoliosis, teaching them a lot of this core work. It's really all about learning how to compensate muscles for where you're experiencing those curves. I do have just a simple little $30 Amazon brace, with the Velcro that just snugs around. I do wear that when I'm lifting weights. I've reduced the amount of weights I lift. I lift about 4 days a week, and I don't do a lot of volume. I did used to compete in figure competitions back in 2012 to 2015 when I was lifting a significant amount of weight. And I won't put anything above 15, 20 pounds over my head anymore. I'm very light, focusing more on slow, and this takes years to develop, but if you're already there, like even if I wasn't holding any weight, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't feel it. No, you could literally activate and force the tension into the muscle. You don't need weights to do that, but it's a mindset thing. Massage, this is a huge one. Huge. Try to have a deep tissue massage, a structural massage. Actually, one I just had 2 weeks ago, the guy was fantastic. He knew exactly how to work with the scoliosis. Don't ever have people try to work on it to heal it. I'd highly recommend that. I've been to enough massage therapists in my life, and those are the people that will probably maim you and you won't be able to walk for the next few days, not in a good way. I'd highly encourage staying away from anyone that's like, yeah, I can fix this. No, you can slowly work on muscles and helping them repair and hold. But the fact is, and this is my belief, is scoliosis starts in the pelvis. Scoliosis does not start in the spine. Do not try. Every massage therapist will say this, and it's not right. It's not right. Well, the reason for your scoliosis is because these muscles are strong on this side and these are weak here, so we need to weaken these and strengthen these. No, that has been a symptom that your body has reacted to because your spine was doing that. So your body developed that way to hold your spine. But it's something that started a long time ago in the spine or in the pelvis. So I would really encourage you to stay away from people who are saying they can fix the spine. The spine's not the issue, it's the pelvic floor and any shifting instability within that. And so, I don't think this is something we should be trying to fix here on earth. I really don't. I think this is something that we learn how to manage and work with and do the best we can, but that's my personal belief on it. So the brace does help. I do not wear it all the time. I do not rely on it. I only wear it to help support my core when I am doing focused exercises that involve appendages, anything in the lower body. I will not put a bar on my shoulders to do any squats. I only do a seated leg press at the gym. I do not do a standing leg press or squats. and I won't deadlift anything more than a 15-pound kettlebell, focusing on Roman style only with a bent knee, not straight leg. As far as the other core work, lots of any core work that's going to work all the way from the low abs to the upper abs is fantastic. Any isolated work like crunches, kind of pointless, to be honest. Anything that helps stabilize the entire framework of your abs is great, and hopefully you learned from the previous video. I'll show you guys a few other videos, including my release, how I take this little racquetball and just roll it through and do some releasing along the gluteus maximus. You're going to do it along your piriformis, right underneath the sit bone, and over into the gluteus medius, and so forth. So, you know, scoliosis is a completely unique thing that each of us experiences. We can say like we understand, or we might empathize with each other, but at the end of the day, none of us knows each other's conditions, and so it is unique. But I would encourage you, like I have chosen to, is we just own it. We do the best we can, try not to victimize ourselves too much, and just find solutions. You know, I'm still relatively young with my condition, and so we will see what the future brings. I don't know. I hope I look back on this video and can agree with the statements I make here and share with you all. But thank you so much for reaching out and for sharing your story. I do plan in the future to put a group together that bands a lot of us Scully women together, but that isn't in the near future, just due to some big work projects I'm in right now, and time is not my friend. Just got some big priorities right now with the dance world and with my nutrition and fitness business. But I hope this video helps give you some perspective, at least any advice I would give you. If you have any advice to give back to me, please definitely comment below on this YouTube video, and would love to further the conversation at some point in time. If you feel like I missed something big, let me know, and I would be happy to create another video. All right, guys, own it. Be proud of it, and don't give up, because you can't miss a day. You can't miss a day of stretching and training it. All right, guys, talk to you soon.